Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Desiree and I'm a certified nutrition health coach. I like to talk about all things health and wellness. And in today's video, we're going to talk about this book, Recovery from Cancer by Elaine Nussbaum, a quick review. And this book is the one I had mentioned in a previous video. In that video, I did the review of You Are What You Eat by Jillian McKeith, who saw Elaine Nussbaum talk at a retreat in upstate New York, and Elaine was her inspiration. So guys, I read this book in 5 hours and I teared up at least 4 times. This was unbelievable what this woman went through. She was first diagnosed when she was around 40 years old, and it started out that they found a tumor in her uterus. I'm going to just give you guys a quick rundown of what the chapters were. Chapter 1 is diagnosis. Chapter 2 is about radiation and chemo. Chapter 3 is surgery. Chapter 4 is recurrence. And when it recurs, it comes back in her bones and her back badly. The next is healing with macrobiotics. The next one is changing direction. The next chapter is called getting well. And she got a Master of Science in Nutrition during that time. The next one is called Nutritional Link. The next one is Cancer Free. And then the last chapter is called Years Later, and it's by that time she's 20 years on macrobiotics. I didn't know a whole lot about macrobiotics, but this is what it is. So the basic macrobiotic diet consists of 50 to 60% whole grains, 25 to 30% locally grown vegetables, 10% beans and sea vegetables, and 5% soups. Various seasonings, condiments, and beverages were included, as were supplemental foods such as fish, fruit, and nuts and seeds. But they were sparing light. Foods to be avoided included all meat, poultry, eggs, dairy foods, simple sugars, chemicalized foods, refined grains and flours, canned and frozen foods, tropical fruits and juices, and vitamin supplements. She lived in North Jersey. She ended up finding a macrobiotic instructor and nutrition person in New York who she went to end up seeing about once a week, at times once a month, who led her through this. At one point, she was down to 81 pounds, but during that time, still feeling great. She was cleansing her body of the inflammation, the sickness, the mucus. That macrobiotic nutrition teacher was trying to get her to really cleanse down her kidneys and her liver, and she did beat the odds. This is an amazing just book to read in general, but if you have cancer, you have a friend, family, loved one who's dealing with cancer, it's really an inspirational story. Whether or not you decide to do any kind of certain diet, there are a lot of diets that are super helpful if you do have cancer or you're just diagnosed, like things to avoid and things to eat. Now, this next part I just want to read to you. I've known about it for years, but she sums it up perfectly in this couple paragraphs, and it's about dairy in your diet. It says, the belief that dietary calcium must come from dairy food is largely a cultural phenomenon unique to the United States and a few other industrialized countries. Throughout a part of the world, dairy food is rarely consumed. Milk was designed by nature exclusively for babies. No adult animal nurses from its mother or drinks the milk of another animal. Science and medicine have acknowledged that the human being, just like every other mammal in the world, is not able to digest milk perfectly after babyhood. This is because of a decrease in the enzyme lactase in the gastrointestinal tract. It is natural to lose this lactase activity. It is a biological accompaniment of growing up. Why do we drink cow's milk? Cow's milk was intended to nourish calves. It is the indispensable food for calves before they have teeth. When young animals have teeth and are weaned from nursing, they no longer drink milk. Nor does any animal ever drink the milk of another species. It is biologically unnatural. And it is biologically unnatural for human beings to drink the milk of cows after they have been weaned from nursing. Milk is often described as a near-perfect food, yet it is far from perfect. Cows on modern farms are often poorly fed. They receive toxic doses of antibiotic drugs, both in their food and by injection, and many are afflicted with various diseases. So much residual penicillin remains in some milk that the cheese industry has found the milk useless as a starter culture. Much of the nutritional value in milk is destroyed through the process of pasteurization. The synthetic vitamin D that is added to milk gives toxic reactions in animal feeding tests. The homogenization of milk breaks down the fat particles and releases an enzyme called xanthine oxidase, which destroys vital body chemicals that would normally protect the arteries of the heart. It has been noted that different countries' death rates from heart disease are proportional to how much homogenized milk their citizens drink. Dairy food affects every organ in the human body. Because it is a product of the mammary gland, it mostly affects the human glands and related structures, especially the reproductive organs. The most commonly affected are the breast, uterus, ovaries, prostate, thyroid, nasal cavities, pituitary gland, the cochlea in the ear, and the cerebral and surrounding the midbrain. Many of our current health problems have been linked to dairy consumption, including vaginal discharges, ovarian cysts, fibroid tumors, breast tumors, many skin diseases, allergies, stone formations, hay fever, arthritis, cataracts, and osteoporosis. All of these are on the increase as dairy consumption continues to skyrocket. In countries where calcium is obtained from vegetable sources, tooth decay and bone fractures are rare. Osteoporosis, the disease often regarded as being a result of calcium deficiency, is relatively common in industrialized countries, and it occurs much less often in the third world where dairy foods are not widely consumed. Good sources of calcium in the macrobiotic diet include sea vegetables, leafy green vegetables, beans, seeds, and nuts. Whereas 1 cup of milk contains 300 milligrams of calcium, 1 cup of cooked leafy greens also contains between 200 and 300 milligrams of calcium, and 1 cup of cooked sea vegetables contains between 300 and 600 milligrams of calcium. The calcium requirements for non-animal food eaters is substantially lower than the requirements for those who do eat animal food, as the non-animal food eaters do not accumulate the acid in their blood that leaches calcium from their teeth and bones. Given the abundance of calcium available in plant foods, the fact that most of the people in the world receive adequate calcium on a dairy-free diet, the numerous illnesses associated with the consumption of dairy food, it seems clear that dairy foods are not necessary in the diet of children or adults. As a health coach, I'm always trying to promote the least amount of dairy in your diet as possible. I personally have reduced dairy significantly in the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years, and in doing so, I was able to keep my weight stable and not constantly fluctuate up and down 5 pounds. Stopped having gas, stopped having mucus every morning. Even when I was a kid, I can remember eating ice cream a lot at night during grade school and high school. And then the next morning, there was mucus in my throat, and I was constantly having to clear my throat, before I spoke, for the first hour of the day. And I did not know that's what it was from until I really learned about dairy maybe 10, 15 years ago. But she said it perfectly in her description, and highly recommending this book. Whether, I personally has never had cancer, and I don't have any close friends or family that have, but this is well worth reading, and it was extremely emotional, and what this woman went through, and just the strength of this woman. Hope that helps. I'm newer to YouTube. Please subscribe so it would help grow my channel. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.